This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along. I am Amanda, your host of the SmackDown review, and I'm back after 3 weeks. And wow, just wow, what a lot has happened. What did you guys think of Mania? I think it's fair to say there were some highs and lows, right? The main event, night one, was epic, and the fallout of that over the past couple of weeks has been great. Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, and Heyman, yes please. Jay is champ, Tiffany retains. The Cena-Cody match was underwhelming. And where the hell is The Rock? Joe Hendry and Randy I liked a lot. I thought it was a real surprise. I like Joe Hendry's gimmick. I'm looking forward to seeing if he makes it onto WWE programming. Stone Cold running some woman in the crowd over was a personal highlight for me. Obviously, I'm hoping that she is fine and well, and I imagine quite well financially compensated. But that was one of the funniest things I've seen. And Dom is Intercontinental Champion, and I don't mind that at all. And we got a Becky return and a random tag title win with Lyra, followed by a Becky heel turn. I'm reserving judgment on that. As you guys know, I am a complete mark for Becky Lynch. Absolutely love her. Wasn't a fan of her last heel run, but I think if the creative is good, I think she can run with anything. So I really hope that this is going to be a good story for her. I'm sure there's an angle in there with Bayley, which will be quite cool as well. So, awesome to see Becky back. So let's get to it. Let's review the SmackDown that aired May the 2nd from Des Moines. Hopefully I've said that correct, which is in Iowa. So, as is now the norm, we get the arrivals. And first up tonight, we've got Randy. He's followed by Tiffany and Miz with Mello, who is taking on Aleister Black tonight. And oh my god, I forgot to mention that he came back. I think you guys remember I predicted Aleister Black and Becky returns. So I am probably going to retire from predictions now. I've got those two right. Anyway. So we see Priest arrive. And he's confronted right away by Solo and Fatu, and they start having some handbags in the backstage area. Priest saying basically he wants the US title from Fatu. And it looks like we're getting straight into the action tonight. We have LA Knight versus Priest. Now Knight walks right past the handbags and into the ring where he has the mic in his hand. And he says a week ago he stepped foot in the ring and he said he wanted his rematch, but instead of a rematch, he got a number one contenders match. He said he had the match, it didn't go his way because of Solo interfering and spiking him, and then Fatu coming out and treating the ring like his own personal jungle gym, which I thought was hilarious, dropping moonsaults on everyone. He said that the only reason he was able to do that at all was because of Priest. He says that he knows it wasn't to do with him, but it still cost him. And that brings out Priest to the ring. And he tells Knight that he's right. And he says that the two of them don't have a problem, but that last week was all about Drew. He says he was done with Drew, but Drew couldn't let it go. Knight tells him that he picked the wrong time to interfere. And Priest says he did him a favour because he saved Knight from eating a claymore and getting pinned. Knight says don't put your stuff on me and don't let your failures be mine. And Priest says this whole situation is because he lost his title at Mania. They continue to go back and forth, blaming each other. Priest says they can go on like this, or they can get on with it and have the match right now. So we get a referee out and we kick off the match. We're off to a pretty slow start. Face versus face for me is always a bit weird. And we're even Stevens in the early going. Priest with some momentum goes for Old School, which is his homage to the Taker, but is pulled down by Knight, who gets in some offense, including a beautiful jumping neck breaker. Knight goes for an elbow drop from the top rope, but is caught midair by Priest, which is a really cool move. And then Priest delivers a massive clothesline and gets a near fall. Knight hits jump up elbow and earns himself a near fall. And we get this is awesome chant, which I'm sorry, Demoy, is a bit of a stretch. It's not bad, but it's not awesome, in my opinion. Priest hits a razor's edge from the top rope and pretty much throws LA Knight from one side of the ring to the other. And it looked like he would get the win there, but Knight kicked. Knight gets a superplex for another close count. And just as we look to be moving to the finish, we get the inevitable interference from Solo, who causes a DQ finish and beats down on Priest. And then starts straight away on Knight, looking to deliver the spike, but at the last minute, Knight is saved by Priest. Fatu turns up and saves Solo from being put through the announce table, and then Fatu continues to decimate Knight and Priest, and ends the segment standing tall. A really nice start to the show this week, and a change from the usual long promo, which we got a bit of, but then straight into a nice match, and we continue to build Fatu as an absolute monster. At the moment, it seems Fatu and Solo are on the same page, but personally, I can't see that lasting, and I hope it doesn't. We now go backstage to Byron, who has Fraxium with him. And they say they will turn the tag division on its head. Now they have joined the best tag division in the world. Pretty Deadly come along and say they are happy to have more Europeans on the show, but they need to know how good Fraxium are. And that's what they wanted the match tonight for. And we're straight into that now. After last week's Fraxium debut, I am excited. They are pretty awesome, really exciting to watch. This one starts with Axiom in with Kit. Wade tells us that many people make Fraxium the best tag team in the world. He doesn't agree yet, but they are really hyping them up. A quick tag and Nathan Fraser is in. I remember we had a chat on the podcast about Nathan Fraser a few weeks ago, and I said that I thought he was really exciting, and I was looking forward to seeing him more, and I was going to try and catch him on NXT. Well, obviously Triple H has done me a favour here and haven't got the time to watch NXT, so he's just brought them up to SmackDown, which is awesome. So we've got Nathan Fraser in, Pretty Deadly with the tag, and Fraxium not having it all their own way early on. Fraser with a tag to Axiom from nowhere, and then we get some amazing Fraxium double team moves. Absolutely breathtaking. They are so quick. It's unbelievable. Pretty Deadly, though, not being buried here. They are making a good account of themselves, and a massive Spanish fly and a Phoenix splash finishes this one off, though, with Fraxium still looking brilliant. I'm excited, so excited to see these guys on SmackDown. They are great, and they start off their SmackDown career with 2 wins in a row. Backstage now, we have B-Fab and Michin. They're talking to Nick Aldis and saying that once Liv and Raquel come back from their holiday filming a movie or something, they want a tag title shot. Before Nick can answer, though, he's interrupted by the Secret Hervis and Chelsea Green. She's dressed all in black, like she's grieving for her title, and says she wants a rematch. Nick says not tonight, as Zelina Vega is going 1-1 with Piper Niven, and if she wins, she will be number 1 contender. Now, I'm not sure I'm ready for these 3 to be split up, so I hope that's not where they're going with this. Although, that said, I would love to see Piper on a good single runs, just as herself, as she is awesome. So, a little bit conflicted. Next up, we have Nia Jax, who just reappeared from nowhere last week. Honestly, I'd totally forgotten she was even on SmackDown. As you know, I'm not a fan of Nia, so I can't be impartial. But let's see where this run takes us. From last week, it looks like we were having another go-round of Tiffy versus Nia. As Nia comes out, she gets a very frosty reception from the crowd. To be fair to her, she embraces it and says, "Sounds like you will miss me." No. But as I said, at least she's embracing it. She says she's happy to be back. Since she was gone, she's been getting refocused and regrouping so she could come back and take what is hers, the title. Yawn. This is met with massive boos, obviously, and out comes Tiffy, who is more over than ever. She says that she isn't the same Tiffy that Nia used to push around, and says that cashing in on Nia was the greatest thing that she ever did for her career. And since then, she's beaten the GOAT, Charlotte, and if they meet again, she would meet her too. She says she'll defend her title anytime, anyplace, anywhere. And at that, randomly, before Nia can get in any kind of reply, we get Naomi coming out. And she says it's fun to see them fighting, as for months. She says it was Tiffy that stopped her from winning the title over and over again. Naomi says that Tiffy thinks that she's changed, but actually Naomi's really, really changed. She isn't the sweet Naomi anymore. She took out Jade, and she'll take out anyone who gets in her way. As she's walking down to the ring, she starts going off script, presumably, and giving out to the crowd, which is brilliant. And before she can get to the ring, we get Jade out, who doesn't have a mic. She just wants to fight and goes right for Naomi. Meanwhile, Tiffy and Nia start on each other. The outcome of all that is that we get Jade in the ring with Tiffany. Nick comes out and Teddy Longstyle makes a tag match, Tiffany and Jade versus Nia and Naomi, for later on tonight. This was a good segment. I wonder if we are seeing Nia versus Tiffy again, and where is Charlotte? I wonder, where is she fitting in to all this picture? I'm not saying that I particularly want her to be fitted in anywhere, as a matter of fact, because the women's division just seems really great on SmackDown at the moment, but it can't be denied that Charlotte is an absolutely huge star, so no doubt she is going to be fitting in somewhere. We now go backstage with Miz, and he is with his new sidekick, Carmella Hayes, and he is basically on one, telling Mello that he has knocked off plenty of flavours of the month, and he will make a statement tonight by taking out Aleister Black. Next up, we've got that match, and it's Miz versus Aleister Black. Aleister Black's entrance is seriously cool. It's a little bit Undertaker, and really good to see him back in WWE. He looks like he could literally and actually kill the Miz. And he starts off strong, and honestly, Miz looks outclassed. To be fair, Miz does get some offence in, but is quickly knocked out by a massive kick. Slightly deeper into the match, Miz goes for the it kicks, but Aleister Black just laughs at him. As we continue, Miz goes for the skull crushing finale, but Aleister Black counters with a cartwheel, which is one of the most awesome counters I've ever seen. It looked so cool, and follows up with another massive kick. We then get Mello up on the ring apron trying to distract Black. Doesn't work. But he then turns around and hits Black Mass on the Miz. Honestly, you could have counted to 100 Miz's out of it, and Black gets the win. I love Aleister Black. I think he's really different. At the moment, there is no one like him on SmackDown. I'm excited to see how he gets booked under the new regime. He faces off with Mello on his way out of the ring, so I'm assuming that on the way to whatever the big plan for Aleister Black is, we've got Mello next, which should be a pretty cool match, because they're both certainly talented guys. We go backstage where Santos is talking to Phoenix. Santos tells him his performance at Mania was an embarrassment, and he should be ashamed he lost to Grande Americano. He says he hopes this time Rey Mysterio is gone for good, and he's ready to step up and be the leader in his place. Phoenix says there's only one luchador he trusts, and that's Rey Mysterio. So it seems we're going to have a luchador feud, which I think is pretty cool. These two are both awesome. We'll all go tonight, and we are straight back to the action with Zelina Vega versus Piper Niven. Wade starts off on comms, pointing out the huge difference in size and stature of these two. And anyone watching who couldn't see that, probably go Specsavers. Zelina starts off well, using her mobility and speed, and Chelsea outside the ring, dressed in full black, complete with a veil, playing the grief-stricken one, is comedy genius. I love Chelsea in this role. I think it would be quite fun if we just get months and years of Chelsea chasing back after the title and never quite getting it. I think that would be great. Meanwhile, in the ring, we got Piper in charge, and she slows down the match, making her power pay. Zelina tries to go up top, but gets a massive slap in the face, as Piper looks to go up top too to meet her, but Vega manages to hit a Meteora from the top, getting a 2 count. Piper goes for the cannonball in the corner, but Zelina moves, and she then hits a moonsault and gets another 2 count. She goes to hit the 619, but Chelsea up to the apron, causing the distraction. Piper going for the sneak attack from behind, but accidentally takes out Chelsea, and Vega takes advantage of that, getting the roll-up victory on Piper. So this was a decent enough match. 4 straight weeks now, though, that shenanigans and misunderstandings have led to Chelsea and the Secret Hervis being beaten. So who's next for Zelina? Do we want to see someone like Charlotte fight for the mid-card title? Maybe. Charlotte hasn't been around since we bought the Intercontinental and the US women's titles in, so maybe that's the route for Charlotte, something a bit different. Backstage, Nick Aldis is giving Solo and Fatu a rollicking for causing another match to be thrown out. Nick makes a triple threat match for Backlash, which is Fatu versus Priest versus Knight. Solo kicks off and says that if anyone should be getting the match, it should be Drew as the number 1 contender. Nick says, actually, you're right, forget the triple threat match, and he makes it a fatal 4-way with Drew included. Honestly, Fatu just gives absolutely no damns and is just like, bring it on. To be honest, Solo seems more peed off about it than Fatu. Like I said, 0 F's given. Next up, we have Randy to speak about his match with Cena at Backlash. He says to John Cena that even though the world couldn't see him, they'll play on Cena's You Can't See Me, he could. He says it took 20 years for everyone to realise what kind of guy he is, but he knew all along that he's arrogant, selfish, and an entitled brat. He says he was the shiny toy to be played with by the ultimate puppet master, which I thought, wow, that's 100% certainly a reference to Vince, because that Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix has got him depicted as the puppet master, which is true. And that's a couple of times in the last few weeks that we've had some digs, let's say, to the previous regime and Vince specifically. Randy says he took full advantage of the PG era, being happy to basically become a cartoon character. He says that all he cares about is his bottom line, which has brought him fame, fortune, and a move into the mainstream. He says he has absolutely rinsed the merch in order to squeeze every single penny out of all the kids and the fans. And Randy mentions what Cena said last week about raising everyone else's kids. He says that selling your soul isn't a new concept to him. Again, reference back to this whole thing with The Rock, which then completely disappeared. So selling his soul isn't a new concept to him. He's been doing that for the last 20 years. He says, what happened to loyalty and respect from hustle, loyalty and respect? He says last week Cena said he would erase Randy's family name from history, but Randy said he isn't the last great champion. He is the latest legend that he will put down. And I just think, man, I hope that Randy punts Cena's head off. I am so looking forward to this match. 2025, guys. It's 2025. And we've got Cena versus Orton. What a match it could be. We now go backstage where we have Nia and Naomi. Nia tells Naomi they need to be on the same page. And she basically tells Naomi stay out of her way in the match tonight. We've now got the match between Rey Fenix and Santos, and I don't think the crowd recognised Rey Fenix's music, as it was met with deadly silence at first, which is a bit of a shame and killed off the atmosphere a bit. We start off with a chop fest, something you more expect to see in a Gunther match rather than a luchador fight. Phoenix with an impressive move countering through the ropes in what Wade called a 916. I don't know what it was called, but either way it looked awesome and this guy's got some serious skills. So is Santos though. He flies through the ropes at a massive amount of speed and smashes Phoenix onto the floor. Phoenix starting to get some offense in and hits an amazing looking moonsault, getting a near fall. I think it's interesting that they have not made Rey Fenix look as strong as Penta. Phoenix has been booked as much more fallible, beatable, I suppose, and took the loss at Mania, whereas Penta has been booked like a superhero. And yes, he lost at Mania too, but the circumstances, I think, were slightly different. It was a triple threat match, a fatal four-way match, and was for a title. So slightly different, but I just think that's interesting when they are, they've been billed previously as the same. This one wraps up quite quickly though, with Rey Fenix hitting a top rope Meteora and getting the 3 count for the win. So he does get the win. Some standout moves from both guys in this match. Had a touch of the Logan Pauls about it. By that, I mean it felt a little bit like a series of spots and cool moves rather than a match that was flowing. But again, that's just my opinion, and it might just be me. We go backstage, and we've got Byron with Tiffany and Jade. And she says she gets it. Nia is mad, and as long as Jade stays out of her way, everything will be fine. Jade says she's spoken to Nick, and next week that she will fight Nia Jax for the #1 contender spot for Tiffany's title. And I guess that adds an extra level of interest to the main event tonight as well. So, nice storytelling. Backstage now, we've got Legado del Fantasma, and Santos is chewing him out, screaming at him. Basically for not helping him out tonight in the match he's just had. Andrade comes along and says he knows Santos doesn't care about Los Garza, and he doesn't like him. He says that he doesn't have legacy, respect or honour. And it looks like Andrade is trying to split up Legado del Fantasma. Would we like to see Berto and Garza break away from Santos? Maybe join forces with Andrade instead, or maybe just be not part of the faction and maybe just be a straight up tag team. I don't mind. I think their last gimmick prior to this was I think it was called Los Lotharios, which was a bit lame and a bit Attitude Era-esque. But you can't deny that Los Garzas have got brilliant moves, excellent skill, and are a phenomenal tag team. Maybe it's time for them to break away from the Legado del Fantasma. Let's see. And whether or not they end up aligning with Andrade or just stand alone. Now we've got this evening's main event, and it basically starts off with a straight up fight. All 4 women are at each other, and the ref has zero control. To be fair, doesn't even try. We've pretty much got 2 separate fights going on. We've got Nia and Tiffany going at it on the outside, and we've got Jade in the ring with Naomi, so I guess they are the legal ladies, and we're going to get started. Naomi has the advantage over Jade in the early goings. I really like heel Naomi. She has turned so seamlessly. It's a masterclass. It does make me wonder about all those wasted years that she's had in WWE, where she hasn't really been used very much, and when she was used, it was kind of lackey sidekick. Anyway, loving heel Naomi. Now we've got Nia in, who gets to work on Jade and takes out Tiffany for good measure. Jade's desperate for a tag, which finally we get. And then we've got Nia and Tiffany in the ring. And Tiffany is rolling. She counters the Samoan drop with a crucifix pin, and she is absolutely killing it tonight. Looked awesome. Nia hits the Samoan drop, but Naomi gets herself a blind tag and then goes on to mess up the split leg moonsault, which infuriates Nia because they might have had the win there. Jade back in with Naomi and drops her straight on her face. Jade then hits a huge chokeslam and goes for the cover, but Nia breaks it. Tiffy hits a swanton onto Nia, which again was an absolutely beautiful move. And again, we've got chaos in the ring. Nia looks for the Annihilator on Jade. But Jade is up and gets a slam from the top rope, getting the cover for the win. So we've got Jade covering Nia for a pretty clean win. And that sets things up very nicely for next week's number one contender match, giving Jade the win over Nia already. Personally, I think I would prefer to see Jade versus Tiffany, as Nia Tiffy has been done and done to death. We do get Naomi back at the end, standing in the ring, holding the title, which I thought looked pretty cool. Naomi as a heel with that title. Hopefully that could be a clue for the future, but that would be brilliant. I would love to see that for Naomi. So all being equal, after my 3 weeks away, I think I was treated to a pretty good show tonight. We got loads of in-ring action and furtherance of some key storylines. I think we're going to get Fatu as US champion basically until he retires. He looks madly unbeatable. Perhaps he's just going to accumulate titles, go from show to show, and in the end it's just going to be Jacob Fatu's WWE. No Charlotte on tonight's show leaves me wondering what's the plan for her. I think I might start a little petition, a little push. Let's get Charlotte lined up for one of these mid-card titles, the US or the Intercontinental, if they want to chuck her onto a different brand. So things are nicely set up for next week, where we will have Cena pre his match with Randy at Backlash. Wouldn't it be cool if Randy won that? I don't think he will. I have no idea what the plan could be. But I do think that Cena can't possibly be allowed to leave with the title, because ultimately the whole point is that the good guys have got to beat the bad guys, right? Unless Cena turns around and turns face again at some point, but I don't know how on earth they would manufacture that. So I don't think he can be allowed to leave with the title. So I think he's going to drop it at some point before he leaves. Will we eventually get round to a Cody rematch where he wins the belt back? And that reminds me, we haven't seen Cody for weeks. I don't think we've seen him since Mania, have we? It's a slight blur because I was watching the programming from WWE while I was away on holiday, but not necessarily at the right time or in the right order. But yeah, I don't think we've seen him. So we need to see Cody. We need him to talk. We need to hear his plan. Perhaps he comes back at Backlash. And what's then the next PLE? Is it Money in the Bank? Anyway, feels like we're in a pretty good place at the moment. A great show tonight. Raw's looking good. And as I said, nicely teed up to move into Backlash. So guys, that just about does it for this week's show. As always, thank you for having me in your ears. And until next week, remember, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.